Bro could take a beating from Mihawk and still fight even with a fever. Mappa would love Zoro as an animator. Zoro ate the him fruit. Zoro goes to fights without regard for his own safety, but that's because he's the man. When it comes to fights of skills, endurance, willpower, this guy has got it all. Let's see how eating the him fruit turns Zoro into him, the man, the myth, the legend. Zoro's arms gambling. Let's start by establishing how Zoro deals with issues. Ever wonder how Zoro got his swords? Easy. He gambles like an addicted gacha gamer. Back in lockdown, Bro recognized the sword as different because he can just tell. It is in fact very different, as it is a curse called Sundai Kitetsu. Apparently the sword actually makes anyone who has it die tragically. That's like Zoro's everyday life if you really think about it. Even before this, he suffered a wound from the stronger swordman, but that's coming up soon. So he says he wants it because he's Zoro. He ate the him fruit. He's insane. He pressed that pull down button hoping he gets the 5-star weapon, throwing the sword in the air as he stretched out his left arm. The swords get scared of Zoro's insanity and spins neatly around his arm. Even the swords recognize how Zoro is really built different. The owner was so impressed he gave him another sword free of charge. This trick only works if you're him. Don't try it. Zoro versus Mihawk. The good old Zoro Scar origin story. If you're wondering how Zoro got the timeline on his chest, this guy is the reason. In Bar T, Zoro meets the top dog swordmans worldwide, Mihawk. You know this guy is the real deal when even his facial hair looks like blades. Not only this guy is the strongest swordsman, dude also has the sickest sideburns. Mihawk pulls out an average sized knife and says, "This all I need." And he wasn't kidding. Zoro charged at him full force, and Mihawk casually stopped my guy's 3/14-inch swords with his 4-inch cucumber slicer. Zoro was there posing while saying, "Holy shit, this dude is hot." So hot in fact that his sweat dripped onto the wooden floor. We would see him fight 6-armed men too, and that's coming up in a bit. Dude was in denial, so he charged again up in his tumble count, but Mihawk had held the left button. Mihawk parries so hard, bro bounces off his own attack. Zoro kept coming, but the difference was just too great. Mihawk talks to him while guarding and says that Zoro is still weak, but is burdened by a heavy task. Zoro flies back again and prepared his tiger attack while also remembering Luffy's work for extra dramatic points. He rushes, but Mihawk just inserts that knife like a debit card into Zoro's chest. Mihawk then asks him his name as he pulls the knife out, and Zoro replies. Mihawk acknowledges Zoro's resolve and says that he'll remember his name after sinking him with his black blade. What the hell? That thing sounds kinky as hell. They proceeds to do a Mexican standoff, and Mihawk dashes first while Zoro refreshes himself by making a fan out of his blades. In true anime fashion, they dash across one another, and Zoro blades shattered. You would think Zoro's done, but no. My guy is here. Zoro wanted to be in a TikTok edit and faced Mihawk again and said, "Scars look cooler on the front." Mihawk agrees and slaps his black blade across Zoro's chest. But that's not it. Zoro's wounded, but he's still him, and we're about to see that in the next chapter, because he just says he won't ever lose a game, and so he will not. Back in the Along arc, Zoro fought Hachi, a guy with 6 arms that gross me out, to be honest. Look at them holes. Zoro orders some side character to give him their swords. As they fly, Hachi goes to attack. Not your typical enemy, but it didn't matter because Zoro catches them sword and parries every hit while turning. Look at him, parries those 6 swords with his 3. This dude is insane. He dances around and ducks below a sword as he goes across Hachi. Dude finishes saying his move names first before the initial damage to Hachi. Truly an anime battle. He even fights a literal army. More on that soon. Hachi flexes his swords and Zoro says, "You're only a minor villain in this arc." They clash an hour into a stalemate. What do you think this 6th army is going to do next? Overwhelm Zoro with numbers? No. This guy doesn't even move unarmed. He doesn't use his advantage. So Zoro punishes him by shattering his swords. Out of desperation, Hachi attempts to use his fist, but Zoro just spins to launch him in the air. Zoro did all this with an injury, stealing from Mihawk's slash and a fever. And after this, Zoro even dared to fight Along with a fever and a wound, and that is only possible if he's him. He ate the him fruit, the man, the legend. Both him and Sanji get overwhelmed by Along though, and Along rips Zoro's bandage. He sees the wound and thinks this man is clearly built different. Luffy does eventually beat Along, but Zoro wasn't done. He wakes up sometimes after Along is defeated and beat the crap out of Nezumi. Bro can't just stay in bed. Zoro confronts Baroque back in Whiskey Peak. My dude Zoro straight up handled the whole army solo drinks during the Luffy cruise visit. When they rolled up to Whiskey Peak and got the warm welcome, it seemed like a setup, but Luffy was just there for the grub. Zoro, being wary since the name sounded familiar, soon through the night revealed that the peeps were actually bounty hunters. Sitting at the top of a building, he scolded them, dropping wisdom that a true swordsman and never controlled by booze. Mr. 8 called for Zoro's head, but he pulled the coldest exit in true him fruit fashion. Zoro sleekly infiltrated the crowd, making them shoot themselves, including Mr. 8. In the midst of the battle, he casually tested his sword, slicing a table for cover and jumping the hunters. Zoro even shattered a barrel with one swing, and the fragment knocked in 4 dudes. The guy's cooler than a rehab addict. Facing sneak attack, he splits a stone axe and nearly took down a kid. A nun begged him for mercy, but Zoro ain't got that. Their coordinated attack failed, and Zoro knocked them out, suggesting they try it on someone with a pure heart. This guy really hates the him fruit. Luffy, thinking Zoro is a demon for killing seemingly innocent people, threw down the serious fight, but Zoro, being him, handled Luffy, at least for a while, until Nami intervened with a double fist. But that's not it. Zoro is cold because he ate the him fruit, and this is why. Zoro's standout moment, even for those not glued to the anime, are legit. In the Kuma throwdown, Zoro racked Kuma's disproportionate shoulder, exposing the Chinese machinery this dude had. Kuma flexing hard to flex Zoro's head and bounce, but the real chill move was Zoro taking Luffy's pain and feeling it himself. Zoro was shaking like he couldn't handle it, but even then, most would pass, but not Zoro. Bro could take a beating from Mihawk and still fight even with a fever. Mappa would love Zoro as an animator. Dude stuck his arm in that pain bubble, fully aware of the agony. He's on another level. In the clash with Fujitora, he sliced a meteor, but Mihawk outdid him, turning it into cubes. But that revealed that he was catching up to Mihawk. Truly him, slicing Pika's mountain size, and the onlookers mirrored my shock. Being the big mountain he is, Pika being sliced still made him go higher to the air, suggesting that Zoro slash powerful enough to lift him. But that's not it. Fighting King the Lunarian, Zoro struggled at first, but pulled the win with pure grit and brains. Yes, brains. He cracked the strategy mid-fight. Zoro's got a brain, but his ultimate weapon is that he's him. Don't mind this fall. Zoro is still warm. Zoro might be a badass, but he's still soft to the people he cares about. If Luffy had one crewmate left, that would be Zoro, the last man standing, the man who hate the him fruit. And if you stay unhinged, you too will be served the him fruit already.